Hi everyone, Nolan here from eLearning Portal. In today's lesson, I will show you how to restrict access to certain activities in your Moodle course. We're here in our Moodle course. Let's go to the functions course that we've set up previously, and I'll go into basics. Now, why do you want to restrict access to certain activities? So let's say I have 5 or 6 activities in my course. I want learners to first do the terminology on functions, then I want them to do the crossword puzzle, and then I want them to watch the video. Okay, so first I'll turn editing on. Now once editing is on, as I've previously said, I want them to do the terminology first and then the crossword puzzle, and then I want them to watch the video. So let's move this up. Okay, and then I want them to do the basic functions test. Okay, let's move this up, and then I want them to do the assignment, both these assignments, and then the final quiz. Okay, so now Moodle allows me to restrict access to these activities, because once a learner is enrolled in a course, they can jump to any activity within the course and do that activity. But we want them to follow the activities as we set it out. Okay, now first they're going to finish this activity and then they need to jump to this activity. So I'm going into this activity's editing settings. Now once here I scroll down and I look for restrict access. I click on restrict access, and now you'll see access restriction, and currently there's none. So let me click on add restriction. So here I have different options to restrict learners. I can either restrict them by activity completion, or by course completion, by date, by grade, by user profile, by the level, or by restrict set. Okay, I'll choose activity completion. Now once I've chosen activity completion, I can select the activity I want them to complete. Now since this is the glossary I want them to complete, I select glossary, and here it says here student must activity completion, the glossary, they must complete the glossary, and this should be marked as complete. And once this is marked as complete, you'll see here there's other options. Must not be marked complete, must be marked complete with a passing grade, and must be complete with a fail grade. Okay, I'll leave it on must be marked complete. Okay, so now that restriction is added. I can click on save and return to course, and you'll see what happens. Now when you look at the course again, you'll see there the function crossword is dimmed out. Okay, and you'll see here not available unless the activity functions is marked complete. So this activity needs to be completed first by the students, and then they can move on to this activity. Okay, the same one for the functions and relationships. Let's click on edit and then edit settings. Let's scroll down, click on restrict access, and you'll see there's none. Let's click on add restriction, and now again activity completion, and we want both the glossary must be marked as complete, as well as the terminology. Okay, so I want them to finish the glossary as well as the terminology, and then they can move on to the lesson. So let's click on save and return to course. And when you look now, you'll see that the functions and relations, the video or the presentation, they first need to complete. It's not available unless the activity functions. So it's that activity there, functions glossary, and then the functions terminology, that one there. Okay, they both need to be completed. Okay, so let's just check if we did that correctly. Let's just go into, let's say you've done this incorrectly. You can go into the edit settings. So let's scroll down click on restrict access, and now you'll see we've chosen activity completion. It's the glossary as well as the crossword. Okay, so we've chosen the glossary. Now we need to choose the crossword. Add restriction. Okay, so let's say save and return to course. And now we can see that they first need to complete the functions glossary as well as the functions crossword. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on to the quiz. Let's click on edit, edit settings. Let's scroll down and click on restrict access. Click on restrict access, and now activity completion. So the student must complete the functions glossary, add restriction. They must complete the terminology or the crossword, and they have to complete the functions and relationship. This is the video. Okay, so all these three activities needs to be completed before they can move on. Let's click on save and return to course. Now let's see, once they've done this, they can move on to the functions, the basic quiz. Okay, for the next activity, let's click on edit, edit settings. Let's scroll down again, click on restrict access, add restriction, but now I want to select a restriction set. Let's click on that. So now I can choose the students must, and they must match the following. Let's click on add restriction, activity restriction. Again, it's that one, the functions glossary. Okay, add another restriction. It's the crossword, add another restriction. It's the video or the presentation, add another restriction. It's the functions basic, the quiz. Okay, and that's about it. So let's click on save and return. And now my set is added. Okay, so for this assignment, they first need to finish this, they first need to finish this, this, and that one. Okay, so now you can see that they can only complete this activity or access this activity when all 4 activities are completed above. And this is how you set up the restriction access or restrict access to certain activities within your course. If you want learners to first access this activity before any other activity, you can apply the restrict access to that specific activity. Let's go down and click on edit settings again. Scroll down and click on restrict access, and now click on restrict access or add restriction. We can even allow the learners to first complete a course. So let's click on course completion. And now we need to select a course. The course needs to be completed, yes, before they can access that activity. Okay, so we won't be doing that now. I just wanted to show you that you can restrict the access when they complete a certain course. Let's scroll down again, click on edit and then edit settings. Again, scroll down, restrict access, add restriction, and now we can add a date. Let's say you want this quiz to open at a certain date in time. Okay, now you need to select the date either from or until. So if you select from, the quiz will open from that date. If you select until, the quiz will be open until that date. Okay, and this is how you add a restriction by date. Let's cancel this. Okay, let's look at the other options. By clicking on Edit and Edit Settings, clicking on Restrict Access and Add Restriction, we can restrict it by grade. Okay, if you click on grade, you can choose which grade you want. Let's say the learners obtained, they need to obtain a certain grade on their assignment. So let's select the assignment, the functions assignment, and it must be bigger than or equal to, let's say, 50%. Okay, or you can select it must be smaller than that percentage. Okay, so let's leave it on that. It must be bigger or equal to 50%, and then you can add that restriction. So if I click on Save and go back to that course, you'll see there they can only access this when they obtain a 50% mark, equal to 50% or higher than 50%, and then they will be allowed to take this test. Okay, and this is how you set the grade restriction. Let's go to this activity here. Click on Edit Settings. Let's scroll down, and now you can click on Restrict Access, Add Restriction, and let's look at User Profile. Let's click on Profile, and now you can choose a profile field from the drop-down list. Okay, so let's say all the users with an email address, okay, which is equal to, let's say, @gmail.com. You can provide, these learners will have access to this activity. Okay, also when you have custom profile fields, let's say a company name or let's say a member number, you can restrict it by a member number, or certain users in a department. Let's say the department name is equal to any name. So all the users within this department will have access, and all other users will not be allowed to take the assignment. And this is how you set the restrict access by the user's profile field. Also, let's look at the last one. Click on Edit and then Edit Settings. Again, scroll down. Restrict access, add restriction. You can also restrict it by a level. Okay, prevent access depending on the level of the user. So if you click on level, then the student must and match the following: greater than, equal to, on which level they are. Okay, and this is linked to our level up points that we provide to learners for completing each activity. Okay, so we can also set it to restrict access based on the level they are. Okay, and this is how easy it is to set up the restrict access to certain activities and allow the learners to follow a completion of certain activities based on the completion of other activities within your course. I really hope this information was useful. Please like and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to allow you to receive notifications whenever I add new videos to my channel.